Hi, folks. Thanks so much. Today we have Dr. Megan Neyer with us. Megan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here.
And Megan is the owner of Neyer Performance Strategies. She is an Olympian, a world champion, 15-time national champion, 8-time NCAA champion, winningest diver in the NCAA, and a PhD specializing in performance and health psychology. She also holds a seat in our international consortium of experts at our MindWorks Roundtable. She works with individuals, teams, and organizational performance. Absolutely amazing. Thank you for joining us, Megan. We're going to get right into what we call pre-performance jitters. Can you talk to us a little bit about pre-performance jitters?
Well, it doesn't matter what venue you're in, whether you're an athlete, whether you're someone who's doing a presentation, a manager, a leader. We all get into situations where we have to perform. As Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage and we're mere actors in it. And so it just depends on what your stage is. And so a lot of us, when we have to, quote, step up to the plate, can get overwhelmed emotionally and then we get overwhelmed mentally with worrying about how we're about to perform. And so that can decrease performance when we get overwhelmed in that way.
Wow. And you're someone, when you look at the resume you've got there, the list of accolades is phenomenal. And you've obviously gone through that. And have you ever, even with all these amazing things that you've done, have you ever gotten pre-performance jitters?
Oh, absolutely. Holy cow. It was definitely, well, first of all, I was a diver and I was afraid of heights. So, there's that. So I had to learn how to manage my anxiety from a very early on in diving because I didn't want to necessarily go to a higher level. I was pretty happy on 1 meter. And then beyond my life in the pool, I used to get really, really anxious about public speaking. And so what I did is I essentially had to coach myself to use the skills that I had used in diving to manage my nerves there. The skills that you learn are applicable to any environment.
And you were discussing something with me a little bit before the show. It was just really interesting. The way you put this just really changed the way I perceived this issue. We're talking about nerves, and you were saying you were describing two different types of nervousness. Can you help our audience with that?
Yes, well, I think there's nervous, excited, which is what you want. You want people to be energetic and on point. And so there's nervous, excited, which is kind of like, put me in, coach, right? And then there's nervous, anxious, which is like, oh God, running for
Here
the
it
close
comes.
quarter. Yeah, don't put me in, coach, and I want to slink out the back. And so what we want to do is we want people to have that excitement about looking forward to whatever it is they're about to perform in, and not that anxiousness that can all send us into that fight or flight space that then prevents us from thinking effectively and doing what we're able to do well.
So at what point would this be something, when you're looking at pre-performance jitters, at what point would you introduce that to performers? At kind of what age?
As early in an age as possible. I really want to work with leaders and coaches and teachers and parents to help them teach these skills to kids. Some of the foundational skills can be taught very, very young. Just like, for instance, deep belly breathing can be taught very, very young, but it starts enabling kids to be aware of their energy and help to manage their energy, and also to integrate their their minds and their bodies in order to direct the energy where they want it to go to perform well. When I started doing more public speaking, I really had to draw on those skills I had learned in diving to help me manage my energy there in order to manage my energy with public speaking. And because I was definitely nervous, anxious.
Oh, gotcha. Does this happen in school? Like, do people sometimes get that same type of thing in test taking?
Absolutely. I mean, math anxiety is a thing, right? And we're not just math anxiety, but I know a lot of super intelligent people that will come in and say, well, but I'm not good at taking tests. Well, what does that mean? Why can't you then translate your intelligence into effectively into that opportunity where you're taking this test? And so we got to look at what's breaking down from their ability in a pressure situation that prevents them from doing well.
This type of investment, it returns for how long, Megan?
The rest of their lives. Again, the skills that you learn, whether it's in the athletic arena, or particularly in the athletic arena, it's just these are life skills. They last for the rest of your life. I applied all these things that I learned in athletics when I was getting my PhD. I know a lot of people who never finished their dissertations because they couldn't put together the whole process of integrating all of the information and going through a defense and that kind of thing. There's a lot of people who, for me, I just used all the skills I had learned in diving and I just applied that during my doctoral program. And I'm like going, stress, be 33 feet in the air with a little skimpy piece of clothing on. And, it's 45 degrees and the wind is blowing and you're about to learn a new dive and you have no idea where you are in the air.
And
That's
all
stress.
The world is watching. Is that right? And just you. That's right,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And I'm like, standing up in front of these people, no problem, So
let's translate this just for a moment into something a little different, a different world. Let's translate it into the police. What do you see?
Okay.
What do they go through that might have some pre-performance jitters?
Well, needless to say, being a police officer, you can get into intense situations. I mean, police aren't usually called because everybody's calm and being polite to each other, right? Police are frequently called into intense situations. So understanding how for them to manage their own energy and to manage their own emotion going into these intense situations is really critical to them making the best decisions in a split second. And so that's a training thing. I work with a lot of people who might be trained kind of minimally in those kinds of situations, but they really need ongoing training and ongoing understanding and knowledge of themselves and how to manage their energy in order for them to be at their best.
Megan, let's take it into a different situation. What about military? We're looking at special forces. What's at risk? What kind of jitters could they get?
Well, again, when people are aspiring to be in the special forces, this is absolutely critical because they are literally making life and death decisions. And it's critical that they have the ability to manage their energy and integrate their energy mentally, emotionally, and then physically as they engage in their activities, because they're under extreme stress situations and they really need to understand and be effective at managing themselves in extreme situations, because once the fight or flight mechanism in your brain is kicked off, you get hijacked. And so through training, we can actually delay that hijacking so that people can be in extreme stress situations and still be able to make really good decisions and so that they're effective.
And so let's go ahead and go to the next step from there. What about in business? Is this something that business could use? Why would they be able to use your training?
in the words of Jim Neyer, who was a sports psychologist who did a lot of organizational development work as well, leaders are the energy stewards of the organization. And so the number one job of a leader is to get work done through others, not jump in and do the work, but get the work done through others. So they need to understand themselves. They need to understand the people that are working through them. And we can do that through really good assessment. And we need to know how, they need to know how to bring that team together in order to achieve objectives. Well, the first thing is know thyself, right? You got to understand yourself before you can effectively work and manage other people, and then understand your people so that you can bring out the best in them. Pretty classic that people tend to leave their jobs because of their managers, not because they don't like their job.
Megan, thank you so much for your information today. If you are a coach, a parent, you're working in the military, the business, you can visit Megan's landing page. She can work one-on-one with you, with teams, or with the whole organization. And so you can visit her on our landing page in the FM Fast Track under our FM experts. And you can also visit her on MindWorks, where you go to discovermindworks.com, and she'll be in there as well, and she can help you right away. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John.